Good afternoon, folks. It's your old pal Colby Evans here with another episode of the ARCA Racing Podcast presented by Menards. Today we are doing our preview episode for the championship race at Kansas. You guys might hear my TV in the background because I forgot to turn it off, LOL. So if you guys hear any weird commotion in the background, that's my stupid TV I left on. I'm watching Family Guy. But anyway, let's get to the show. Nothing to review today so far, but we have our big championship race this weekend, which I will be there. I'll try to provide as many updates as possible. But likely we'll be very busy over at Brad Smith Motorsports. We got tires, we got sponsorship coming this weekend, and I'm really excited. Unfortunately, Brad has not had the best luck at Kansas. We haven't finished a race there since 2018. But anyway, I'm at Start and Park Car on Twitter. Follow ARCA Racing on Twitter. Follow Brad Smith on Twitter. All in the links down in the description. Let's get right into the show with the entry list. Not the biggest entry list in the world, and honestly to me, a little disappointing. A little disappointing considering that I had almost 30 cars on this entry list. I had 30 cars, and unfortunately, I wasn't even that far off of what a normal entry list would have probably been for this race, but one of the surprising faces that are not here, the 30 of Chris Wright was scheduled to enter this race, but we're not on the entry list. 2 Brett Holmes entries. At the beginning of the year, Brett Holmes Racing announced their plans for ARCA, and it included running 2 cars at Kansas with the 23 of Brett himself, and then the 32 number swap of Sam Mayer. Brett Holmes not on the entry list. And another one, shocking one to me, no GMS. That is 4 competitive cars that sadly will not be at Kansas and really could have upped the entry list standards a lot better. It does make me a little sad. But hey, 24 cars is still, for ARCA's sakes in this day and age, not the worst field. And it's the highest field at Kansas we've had since 2018. So I'll take it. Excuse me. But only it looks like maybe 2 or 3 starting parks. So not the worst thing ever. We do got old Wayne Peterson running, which will be fun to see him there. But do I still think Ty Gibbs is probably going to close out this win? It's going to be hard to beat him with I would say the only 2 people I really thought would have contention for him with the win were the Brett Holmes entries, but fortunately it looks like Brett's going to focus more on a truck season next year, maybe even go full time. And I hope he does, but definitely not going to be the same, not seeing that 23 in the ARCA series, that's for sure. Like I said, we got some new people running this weekend, and it's good to see. 2 truck teams. This being an off weekend for trucks, good to see some truck teams showing up. Not GMS, though. Young's Motorsports, who had a program earlier this year with Tony Breidinger, and then that kind of just fell apart. We didn't really get the reasons why. She kind of just stopped driving. And with Connor Mosak, and then I already forgot. Oh, yeah, Nice Motorsports. And with a very surprising entry with Dean Thompson. ARCA West driver Dean Thompson will be in the 50, and I think it's a great opportunity for a guy like this to show what he can do in a really good car on a big track. So I'm really excited for Dean Thompson. Just my camera a little bit. There we go. But yeah, I'm really excited for him to see how those 2 guys can do, especially with halfway decent equipment, because I believe the Young's Motorsports ARCA team has had an alliance this year with the Bruce Cook Racing team. So I would not be shocked if it's the same kind of alliance that we see this weekend. Entry list. Yeah, we had the 2 Max Siegel entries. Raja, again, I believe this is the biggest track he's ever raced on. If anyone's in the comment section, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the biggest track that Raja has raced on in person, not on iRacing. And if that's true, then I'm really curious to see how he does this weekend. Now, it's not like he's going into this without any knowledge, there will be a practice session and even a qualifying session. So Raja will have plenty of laps, I think. Usually it's about a 10-lap practice session. Is about what they usually give those teams, 10 laps. And then he'll have a chance to qualify. So hopefully that'll help Raja get some time and be able to race this track a little easier. We have a surprising entry list for Andy Hillenberg's team, kind of not what I expected. The 10 will be driven by, I'm going to butcher this name so bad, but I hope I get it right. Arnaut Kok, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He's from South Africa. He drove for the team at Watkins Glen and was supposed to drive for them at Milwaukee, but unfortunately engine issues. I believe it was an engine issue that put him out of that one. But I'm curious to see how he does on the big track. Andy usually brings a pretty decent car to Kansas, so I'm kind of excited for her now, and I hope he does a good job. I would say 24-car field goal would be about a top 15 finish. Ron Vandermeer Jr. will be not in his 66 car. He does have the 66 entered, although I think he'll probably just withdraw that entry because he probably submitted the entry and then got the deal with Andy. So the sad part is that we could actually end up with just 20. Actually, we have 25-car entry list. We could probably end up with just 24, sadly, because the 66 may withdraw. I hope, even if it shows up anyway, just for a start and park, I hope it does. The more the merrier. I really hope the 66 just shows up anyway for a start and park, just so we can get 25 cars in the field. Put one of Andy's guys, like Owen Smith. Put Owen Smith in the 01, or not in the 01, the 66, and have him do a start and park. That's what I wish they would do. The more the merrier. That's what I always say. And then the 12 of Tony Cosentino, who's been kind of the start and park guy this year. He's pretty much done all that. He's only ran one full race. The 12 is actually the only the third highest car in owner points for Andy, so it does make sense that the 12 would be a start and park, because there's not really if there's no sponsorship, there's no real need to run that car the full distance. I'm curious which car they'll have the 12 car being. Could be the white Chevrolet that has been run the majority of this year, or it could be the Bruise Box car, the Bruise Box Toyota car, which has done a lot of start and parks this year. And then the 01 is actually DL Wilson. Now, supposedly DL's got an Ilmore for this race. And this is the Chevrolet that DL has. That's his own car, from what I was told by a fast track crew member. And if it can improve DL's performance on the track, great. He's not done I don't think he's done a bad job this season, but if he can be a little bit more competitive and get Andy Hillenberg's car a better finish, that's kind of the goal for me. We got, maybe it's a good thing we don't have Thad Moffitt in the field this weekend, but we got Drew Dollar making his last, I don't think he's going to be at the West race, but actually I think he will be in the West race at Phoenix, but he will be driving the 15 for Venerini. Let's just say good thing that Thad is not in the field. And then, of course, we got Ty Gibbs, Corey Heim. Venerini actually running 4 entries this weekend. I think it's just the third time this season the 55 has come out. Parker chases in the 25, and Tony Breidinger is in the 55. Curious to see how Tony does compared to her run back in May with Young's. If she can get a top 15, I'll be happy, but it's going to be kind of hard to beat because the competitive level of where she drives is very high. Zachary Tinkle. Now, I've actually heard kind of conflicting stories about what car he's driving. Supposedly, they were supposed to bring, if you guys watched the race at Salem, the white car with the kind of bluish numbers wasn't totaled, but let's just say there's no way in and heck that they could get the car ready in time for this race. I don't think it was total. It didn't look totaled, maybe just a new front clip radiator, but definitely not something that team could fix in just a couple of weeks. For an ARCA team of that nature, a wreck like that, they don't just repair that in 1 week and bring a new car the next week. They don't even have a new car. I don't think Richmond Racing has a new car ready to go like that. It's listed under a Ford, so that leads me to believe that the car that Zachary is driving this weekend is actually Wayne's black Ford. Wayne has a black Ford that he's been using a lot of this season instead of his white Chevrolet. And I believe that's the car that he's using. And if it is, that black Ford, I think that was an old Chad Bryant car, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a fast car. It's a good entry. And curious, because I think this is also the biggest track that Tinkle has ever been on in his career, because he's mostly driven late models. So this might be the super speedway debut for a lot of young kids, which is also good to see, because it really shows, are they ready for this or are they not? Great to see RSS Racing back with Kyle Sieg. They were originally actually planning on doing the whole season, if you guys don't remember. But the hard part was they were doing it on a whopping 2 cars. And if you guys look at paint schemes list, they had run Talladega and Kansas the week after each other. And I was at both races, and it was the exact same car. Kyle was literally running the car he ran at Talladega at Kansas. And then they actually ran, I believe, their Talladega car at a road course. I ran a plate car at a road course. Unfortunately, I think their short track car was involved in a crash at Dover, and that pretty much killed any of their full season plans, and have been showing up sporadically ever since. But I'm glad they're back for the championship race. If you want to get Kyle some big track experience with a lot of cars, this was the race to do it. So yeah, that's good to see. Hopefully they can put a deal for him to run full-time ARCA next year. But he is old enough to run all the races. He's run Daytona and Talladega, so he is approved to run he could probably run full-time Xfinity next year if he wanted to. So I don't think they'll run full-time ARCA next year, but be nice if we could get a combination for Kyle to run part-time for the second RSS Racing team next season in Xfinity, and of course continue the part-time ARCA team. More than likely on the companion weekends is what I could see. Like I said, no 30, no 32. That was kind of a letdown because I was looking forward to seeing those guys. Greg Van Alst, he's had a rough year. He's had a good and rough year. He had a tough start to the season, but man, I think we were all cheering for him, including me at Winchester when he finished second to Ty Gibbs. We were just hoping, blow a tire, run out of fuel, something, because we all wanted to see him run good and win. And I also believe the Ford he has is another Chad Bryant car, but I believe he's running a Chevrolet this weekend. And he got a top 10 finish back in May, so hopefully Greg can repeat that progress and get another top 10 finish. And I think from what I've heard from his crew members, he would like to run a full season next year. It's pretty much all sponsorship dependent. And that's kind of how it goes for any ARCA team in general, especially for a team of Greg's caliber. In an entry that I actually had on one of my fantasy entry lists, but later deleted because I didn't think that'd actually show up, Ryan Huff will make his third start of the season. I believe this is just his third or fourth start, but this is his own team. And they ran Talladega, they ran Pocono, and they ran Kansas. And he actually did fairly respectable at both races. I don't know which car this is from. Could be another Chad Bryant car because a lot of the Fords that you see in ARCA now came from the Chad Bryant Cunningham team. Hopefully Ryan does a good job. He did run, I believe, a truck race here for Rayom Brothers last season, so he's got plenty of experience at Kansas, and that may play into a little bit of a benefit for him. And I would say the goal is maybe a top 10 finish. That'd be nice if it was a top 10 finish. But either way, good to see a out of the blue entry that I don't think really anyone expected. Next entry up is the 46, not Thad Moffitt. From what I've heard, Thad Moffitt and David Gillen Racing. Rumor is, not going to confirm it because I don't really know the full story yet, but I'm not going to confirm anything. But rumor is, relationship might not be going too well right now. Now, I don't know anything, so take it all with a grain of salt. But no Thad, even though they said, I remember them saying on the broadcast that Thad had sponsorship for this race. He is not running the car. JP Bergeron, I'm just going to call him JP instead of Jean, whatever his other name was. He was long name, but he had a respectable performance back at Salem, and I'm kind of curious to see how he'll do on a big track, especially in a top 5 caliber car. 5 top 10, it would be kind of a letdown because that is a 5 winning capable car if you get the right driver in there, obviously. This takes Thad down to 3rd in the championship. Good. Don't really like Thad all that much. Then, of course, we got the good old 48 of Brad Smith. Like I said, the big thing I did with the tires. And actually, from what I saw, he's apparently doing a movie. The 48 is doing a movie. Here, let me look it up. Let me look it up real quick. See if I can give this movie a shout out. Because this shocked me when I saw this I actually saw this for the first time on Facebook and could not believe it. So I had to click on the story. Hang on, I'm trying to find this thing. It's Worth Living For. I think it's called A Story Worth Living. It's a movie in, looks like Toledo, and Brad's car was filmed for the movie, and we'll be rocking the quarter panels at Kansas. So, yeah, how about that? Not only do we got tires for Kansas, but we actually got sponsorship on the hood, and the quarter panel. So, it's probably the best funded that Brad's been at a race in probably 5 to 10 years. And I love it. I love it. Like I mentioned earlier, Nice Motorsports, great to see their ARCA team back. Dean Thompson, feel-good entry, a guy who really got robbed of his chances of competing for the West Championship due to COVID. It was basically, his team was mainly a Bruncati-supported team. They ran cars from his shop, and I wish we could have seen him actually have a chance at the championship because I think he would have been right up there with PJ, Souza, Drew, and Love. I believe at actually one point he was leading the championship standings as well. Mentioned earlier, the 4th entry, part-time 55 car of Venerini for Tony Breidinger, making her last start of the season. Don't know what her 2022 plans are. More than likely, I really think she should stay in ARCA, but we might see her move up to the Truck Series, even though, with all due respect, she's not even close to being ready. Natalie Decker was not even ready to run the trucks when she left. She was not ready. Personally, I don't think even Deegan was ready. She should have had another year of either ARCA with part-time trucks. I hope Tony runs a full year of ARCA because personally, if they try to move her up to trucks, and I'm afraid they will, she's just not ready. Not that she's going to junk them every week. I don't think she'd do that, but I just don't think she would put up respectable finishes, especially with how competitive the Truck Series is in this day and age. Then we got like the 66 TBA. Again, hopefully somebody just shows up in this with this car anyway, just so we can get a 25th entry. But I have a sad feeling that it's going to withdraw. If it does, can't do anything about it. But it'd be nice if they could put somebody in there like an Owen Smith just to do a start and park, just so we have 25 cars. This is a Vandermeer entry, but like I mentioned before, He's actually driving for Andy Hillenberg in Andy's 11 car. We have good old Scott Melton back. Scott's been kind of, so to say, good and bad on the ARCA circuit in his career. I will say in more recent years, he has gotten less worse. Let's just put it like that. He's gotten less worse, has Scott Melton. At the end of the day, he brings a lot of funding to the Kimmel team, which desperately needs it, sadly. Love Will Kimmel. I love Bill Kimmel. The great guys. Always fun characters to talk to in the garage area. Always nice guys. Always got time to talk. Will, every time I see him, he get a handshake. Just a cool guy. If you guys haven't met Will Kimmel, if you're ever in the ARCA garage area, go up to Will Kimmel, go to Bill Kimmel, and ask for an autograph or a picture. They are two of the nicest, coolest guys I personally have met in the ARCA garage area. Same thing with Frank. Hopefully Frank will be there. I'm not sure if Frank Kimmel will be in the ARCA garage or not. In my opinion, our next entrant, one of the greatest ARCA success stories of 2021, the pizza guy, Andy Jankowiak, a.k.a. coolest last name in NASCAR, in ARCA right now. Coolest last name. No one beats that last name. I don't care who you are. It is really hard to beat Jankowiak. Cool guy, cool dude. I will try to post a picture with him at Kansas. Hopefully, if he's in tech, I can run up to him, get a quick picture because he's so cool. And he's just a cool dude. He's the guy who he does it by himself with his own crew. He drives the trailer to the track. He drives the trailer home from the track. He drives the car. He does everything. And that's why everyone was so pissed off, including me, when he got wrecked at Bristol running inside the top 10. Now, I don't know if this is a new car for Andy or if this is the old Our Motorsports Ford that he had purchased from them. I hope it is because it's a good car. Really hope it is. And I think we can all agree that if Andy Jankowiak can come out of this race with a top 10 finish, it'd be really nice if he could afford to run full-time next year. Unfortunately, Andy, I just don't, even with sponsorship, Andy just doesn't have the cars and really the budget, even with sponsorship dollars, to run the whole season. But I wish he would. I really wish he would because he's shown that even in used cars, he can go. He can go. And last but not least, 06. Who drives the 06 famously? Good old Wayne Peterson. 83 years young. Good old Wayne Peterson. He wasn't there in May, but I just think it's mainly because ARCA calls him and asks him if he can just come to the finale. And why not? You know, it's an extra car. Yeah, it's a start and park. Wayne will probably run no more than a lap or two, but just seeing Wayne is the best. For everyone on Twitter that I've seen give crap about Wayne Peterson, number one, go tell that to his face because you won't. And number two, having a conversation with the guy is just hilarious. And one of my all-time personal favorite moments was the 2019 fall race at Kansas, where for a whole hour, Wayne just told us stories about how he fought in the war. And honestly, I never thought I would ever enjoy getting a history lesson at a racetrack. But for the people who just don't respect this guy, it's so sad. It is so sad, the amount of hate that Wayne gets. I get it. He's 83. I get it. He's 83. Should he be out there? Probably not. But is he out there because he loves it? You damn right it is. And should he be respected? You damn right he should be. And if I've been a Wayne Peterson fan for, I think, since my first ARCA race back at Iowa in 08, when I saw that zero car going around there at 100 miles per hour. I've been a Wayne Peterson fan for almost 15 years because he's cool. He's old school. I've been thankful enough to work with Wayne a couple of times. I never got so much knowledge from one guy. I don't think I've ever met anyone crazier. In fact, if I can quickly tell you guys a quick Wayne Peterson story. Back at Iowa in 2018, the composite car, which is now the white Chevrolet, it was empty on fuel. And Wayne had a big barrel of fuel in this old hauler, and the cable to hook it up to put in the gas can, I lost it. And I didn't know how to get the fuel into the can, because it's hard to get fuel up the can. And then here comes Wayne, just grabs the hose, sucks it, and just at least probably a cup's worth of gas right into his mouth. No sells it. And then he hands me the hose, and I'm pouring the gas, and I just couldn't stop laughing. I love Wayne Peterson so much. That's probably my favorite story about Wayne, and I could tell you even more. But that'd be almost an hour long of me just telling stories about working with Wayne Peterson. That's arguably my favorite story of working with Wayne. Just comes up, grabs a tube, and just, oh, what a character, guys. But for anyone who ever bashes Wayne, just screw off. That's all I can say. Anyone who bashes Wayne Peterson, screw off. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that was a good trip down memory lane. So moving on from the entry list, again, 25 cars, but more than likely 24 if the 66 does not find a driver. But I hope that they can get some guy like Owen Smith, who's not on the entry list, and I know he's going to be there because he's an Andy Hillenberg crew member. It'd be nice if they could just throw him in there, run a couple laps, just get the 25th car there. That's what I personally would like to see, especially being there this weekend. The more, the merrier. But with 25 cars on the entry list, that means Ty Gibbs clinches the championship. Now, personally, this is fine with me because, let's face it, he was the best car all season. Even in the races that he lost, he was pretty competitive in all of those. I'll give Corey Heim credit, only finishing 34 points behind, but I think we can all agree that if Ty had not had that 29th, 28th place finish at Talladega back in May or late April, he probably would have won the championship by over 50 points, because that's the one race that really set him back the entire year. But it's okay. I mean, everyone kind of knew that Ty was going to win the championship anyway, and that's okay. Again, at the end of the day, the best car deserves the championship, even if it is unsponsored. It's kind of shocking that the 18 has been unsponsored all this year, but luckily on the entry list, it does list Monster Energy as the sponsor, and I don't blame them. I'd want to come on board for the race where you're going to get all the recognition. Do I think, though, that Ty is going to run away with this one? No. It has seemed that as the year has gone on, Venerini and the other cars were definitely able to get a lot closer to him. I think it's just sad that Brett Holmes will not be there, considering that Holmes won the title there last year, and Kansas is one of his best tracks. It's the track he got his only win at. So it's kind of sad to see none of the home entries there, and we have not heard anything from Brett Holmes in over a couple of weeks. So hopefully everything's okay with his team, and hopefully they make their 2022 announcement soon. But basically our top 5 in points are set. Ty Gibbs first, Corey Hyman second. As we know, Nick Sanchez will be in third, so I'm happy to see him get there. Moffitt, who hasn't run the last 4 races, who will not run these 4 races, is in fourth. Good old Brad will be in fifth. D.L. Wilson, who is running this weekend, will end up 6th in the championship. Taylor Gray will actually get credited with 7th. Although, with him not running this weekend, Drew Dollar should leapfrog him in the championship hunt, unless he finishes like last or something. Drew Dollar should leapfrog him to jump to 7th, which would drop Taylor to 8th. Jesse Love is in 9th, and Kyle Sieg is in 10th. Nobody would jump in from outside the top 10. So you're pretty much, your top 10 in driver points is what's currently listed. Shuffling at the bottom part of that. But ARCA doesn't do what might kind of shock to you is, and what shocked me is too, ARCA does not pay based by driver points. ARCA pays based by owner points. And the owner's battle is a little bit closer, actually, than you guys might think. So far we've had pretty much 12 cars attempt every race this season. I know it's not the biggest one, but it is what it is. I don't want to get into that. But Coy Gibbs, so pretty much you could say, I think the only thing that they did not win this year for ARCA, if you take out West, was the original race at New Smyrna. Other than that, Gibbs swept the entire East schedule except for one race, won the Owners' Championship. They're going to win this Owners and Drivers' Championship. So domination year for ARCA for Gibbs. They will win the Owners' Championship. The Venerini cars, they are locked up second and third. The 20 car is sitting in second. The 15 car is sitting in third. The 46, the David Gillen car, holds just a 5-point lead over the 2 of Nick Sanchez. That could be really close. With JP not having much big track experience, that could really give the advantage to Nick Sanchez and possibly taking over that 4th place spot and really getting a lot more money for the team. Kathy Venerini, the listed owner of the 25, sits in 6th. And then the Andy Hillenberg 10 car sits in 7th. The Richmond Racing 27 car sits in 8th. And then 9th, 10th, and 11th is held by the other 3 Andy Hillenberg entries, with Brad sitting in 12th. But there is a battle going on this weekend for 11th position. And this will make sense in a minute, but with Brad more than likely going to attempt the full race this weekend with the sponsorship and the tires, it makes sense that they would put DL Wilson in the 0-1 this weekend, considering that they would want him to run the whole race and possibly try to outrun each other. So that's going to be a little bit of a battle for you guys to watch this weekend. Watch the 0-1 versus the 48 because they will be competing against each other basically for the 11th place position and owner points. Now, I don't know how big of a swing that would be for money, but for a team like that, every position counts. But there's a little battle for you guys to watch in the race outside of the winners. 0-1 versus a 48. And then, of course, everyone else below has been part-time this season. But yeah, so that's kind of the driver point, owner point battle. Gibbs, just pure domination. But what else do you have to expect out of them? Right now, from what I've heard, the plan next year is to go full-time with Sammy Smith. Although he will not be able to run all the races, they're still going to be going full-time with him. Could see probably Ty Gibbs competing in the races that he can't. So like Daytona and Talladega next year. Sammy will still probably be able to run about 15 to 16 races, but will hurt him in the championship chase, sadly. But then would run full-time for real in 2023. Like I said, guys, race is on Saturday night. Unfortunately, we're after the Xfinity race, and I kind of wish we were before, honestly, so that we could get a better crowd. I hope, that they promote this race big enough to where you guys can see the fact that, if you're coming to the Xfinity race this weekend at Kansas, don't just leave right afterwards. We got the championship ARCA race, the Reese's 150, the Peanut Butter Cup race. Have you guys seen the trophy for this race? I can't. I wish I could post a picture of it, but I can't. I can't post a picture of it because I'll get in trouble. But let me just say this. I wish I could have the trophy that the winner is going to get this weekend. I really wish. If there's one trophy I could ever get in NASCAR or ARCA, it'd either be the giant Andy's Custard trophy that John Hunter got last weekend or this one, but I can't show it to you guys. I can't. Yeah, we're 35 minutes. Good job so far. But some more news to talk about real quick. Right now, the ARCA West race at Phoenix is approaching almost 30 entries, which is interesting because I believe they only start 34 cars. Could there be a possibility where the ARCA West race at Phoenix could have DNQs? Long shot, but you never know. Some news there. The 77, which has been driven by a lot of different drivers this weekend, not this weekend, but this year, will feature another one. The 77 will be driven by Ryan Roulette. So good to see a new name coming to the ARCA West series. And for PP, I think it's PP1 Motorsports is the team name owned by Joe Nava. So good battle there. We'll do more of a preview video for that whole race come the weekend. But anyway, guys, Saturday night after the Xfinity race, it's only going to be about a 90-minute race in general because that's how long it pretty much takes to do about 100 laps. If you guys are in the area, come on out. Tickets are cheap. But yeah, come on out. Watch a good Xfinity race. Watch a good ARCA race. Cheer on Brad Smith. And let's see if anyone can take down Ty Gibbs, or will Ty grab, I think would this be his 11th or 12th win of the year? I think it's safe to say that Ty Gibbs has literally just murdered the field this year. But you know what? Elite equipment is that, but it's not just elite equipment. Talent is also a big factor. So all I can say is this: congratulations to Ty Gibbs for the championship win. Congratulations to Coy Gibbs for another owner title win. And we'll just see where everyone else stacks up at the end of the race on Saturday, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday. I'll upload pictures, I'll upload videos, and be able to tell you guys how the race went next week, and hopefully we'll come home with a top 20, top 15 finish. This has been the ARCA Racing Podcast. I love you guys. We'll see you next Wednesday. Shout out to Menards, shout out to Reese's, and to all my great friends in ARCA. Can't wait to see you guys this weekend. Love you, and goodbye.